Study identifies 16 child sex abuse rings in Victorian Catholic Church, between 1917 and 2001.
Here's a summary of the article.
A 3-year research project into paedophile Catholic clerics in Victoria has identified 16 child sex abuse networks operating over 6 decades involving 99 priests and Christian brothers. Her thesis examined the responses of the Catholic Church to such criminal activity, describing the institution as a «grey network» that repeatedly facilitated abuse. One of these patterns was promoting known clergy perpetrators of child sex abuse to senior positions, which not only provided further access to victims but also placed them in positions where they were better able to protect the dark network from exposure, she wrote. Some clergy committed child sex abuse at institutions where they were the only known dark network actor, but they were also transferred to parishes where there were clusters of other known clergy perpetrators. These perpetrators were part of multiple clusters at different times as were prolific perpetrators. It can be reasonably argued that they were transferred out of clusters when subject to complaints of child sex abuse but were returned to clusters where they could be better supported and protected through stronger ties. The Church's pattern of response to complaints of child sex abuse by its clerics functioned as a resource for the paedophile rings, Mugens found. The Christian Brothers cooperated fully with both the Royal Commission and the Victorian Parliamentary Inquiry, which undertook exhaustive work into the failures of our institution and countless others that enabled the tragic and unacceptable abuse of children and how such abuse was not properly responded to. We reiterate our enduring apology to those who have been harmed as a result, said a spokesman.
This post received a score of 44,431, with an upvote ratio of 93%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
So, to be clear, the instances of abuse were already known, as well as the cover-ups. What the study has done is traced social networks and mapped connections between the individuals involved, to figure out the different rings. It's about understanding how they operate.
It's kind of telling that society keeps warning you from that stranger danger of that random guy watching kids at the playground, when the true danger comes from powerful people who are well integrated into the structure of society itself. At this point, I expect every government and religious institution on earth to be 1% to 5% active, organized pedophiles, human traffickers, or at least helping them.
The number of children being molested by adults inside the child's social circle eclipses the number of children being molested by strangers. The dollar amount for white-collar theft is, in the most conservative estimates, more than 3x the total amount of all other theft categories, including robberies, burglaries, auto theft, mugging. The most common child molester is a nicely dressed person your child knows, not an evil-looking man in a van. For some reason, all our lives, through all kinds of media, we've been fed the wrong image.
You know full well why we're fed these images. It's to benefit and hide the truly evil in our society.
Also racism.
There are no words to describe how disgusting and horrifying it is. I can only imagine what the children had to go through. Changes their lives forever. Shatters them. Gives them 100x more obstacles as an adult that others don't have to face. Leaks into every area of their lives. Alters their relationships. People I love were survivors of childhood sexual abuse. Seeing the pain they go through, alone and silent for decades even, has given me a blind hatred of pedophiles. I want them all to die. This is truly the evilest thing on the planet. So evil I can't even wrap my head around it.
You and me both. I'm a survivor and I can't begin to describe how disturbing I found this. Blind hatred is a perfect way to describe my feelings, as well.
Also a survivor, assaulted at 19. The visceral reaction I have to this shit is hard to put into words. Fuck sake people. I included being 19 to say that my circumstances were different, but I have a visceral reaction to stories like this. If you felt the need to interject, you are a shitty person who lacks any sense of empathy.
I was 5 or 6, repressed it until I was 18. Lost a good few years after that to depression and came close to suicide more than once. I've got to disassociate to deal with stuff like this, then end up questioning if I'm a monster for not reacting.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.